Hello, Jordan.
What's up, Michael?
The weights were flying today.
Oh, that's good.
Flying.
You didn't have that much time in the gym either, so that's good.
Yeah. I got almost an hour lift, which was perfect.
Upper, lower?
Lower.
Let's go.
Everything felt light, you know?
Love that. Do you have pre-workout?
I did. 200 migs.
Just caffeine?
As opposed to...
I don't know if you had extra stuff in there, beet juice. I don't know if you had...
Coconut water, actually.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Yeah. Get some intra-carbohydrates that I definitely don't need for a 1 hour workout, but that taste delicious.
And happy to use. Don't need them, but happy to use them.
Happy to use them. That's right.
Good, man.
It's actually like an underrated periodization strategy, which is like a long-term, not super competitive athlete. When you feel good and the weights feel light, just keep adding more weight. And when it's an absolute grind of a day, just get something in.
Bro, 100%. What's like the annoying fancy term that people call that? It's
I try and rid my mind of annoying fancy terms. Ever since last week when you said
biofeedback. That's what people say. Biofeedback. Okay, so you're just listening to your body? Got it.
I was listening. I didn't even really have to listen. My body was screaming at me like, this is easy.
Did you do Bulgarians?
Reverse lunge.
Nice.
Some RDLs. Did some side standing cable lateral abduction.
What, so you could get a bigger range rather than just lying on the ground?
Just variety. The new gym I'm at has different kettlebells that don't fit on my foot as well.
Oh,
but yes, you get a little bit more stretch with the cable, depending on how you set up. The leg extension machine isn't great. There's not a huge stretch. And that's one where I actually do like a big stretch. So it was a good workout, though.
Good. I like that, dude. That's awesome.
How you doing, brother?
Bro, I'm great. A 3-year-old birthday party this weekend. It was fun. Minnie Mouse came.
Let's go.
Yeah. Minnie Mouse was here, and she didn't say anything. You know, she was like in the big costume.
Mm-hmm.
So she would do like put her hands in front of her mouth, like doing the laughy thing.
Mm-hmm.
But like there was no talking.
I think that's standard for characters.
I was thinking I should do Minnie Mouse, but then I was like, if I'm Minnie Mouse, then I'm gonna have to be like interacting with there were a lot of kids, and you know, you got to interact with everyone, and I want to be watching my daughter, and then so we were like, all right, we'll get someone to be Minnie Mouse. But I was expecting or hoping maybe just ignorantly for some verbal interaction. And I was like, hey, Minnie, and she was just like waving at me. I was like, talk to me. What's going on?
You need consistency, right? What happens then 2 years later, you're at Disney and Minnie Mouse sounds completely different than Minnie Mouse. I think it's standard for those types of dress-up characters not to communicate.
Yeah, probably
verbally.
Also just muffled voice underneath that big head. So they'd have to have some type of a microphone or something, and that would just be difficult. And yeah.
You were disappointed, though? You're like, come on, Minnie, say something.
I was hoping for a conversation. I was hoping for but that didn't happen.
Jordan the extrovert.
It was funny. It was like all girls except like a couple of boys, and there's our really good friend. They have a boy, and he was petrified of Minnie. And then when she started leaving, he like got up and like clenched his fist like he was ready to. He was like, he's 3, so he was like ready to fight. He's like, yeah, leave. Which is like. He did not want to go anywhere near her at all. And the family was like, well, it's a good thing we didn't waste money on Disney yet.
Yeah, right?
That'd be a very expensive vacation for not having fun.
No character interaction. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good, man. I'm glad the birthday party was a success.
Great success. Do you ever see Borat?
I never got into Borat.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's not your humor.
Yeah, I don't think it is.
Did you start Downfall yet?
Yeah, I told you. I watched the first 5 minutes, and it's not in English, and so it's on the extra back burner. But I did see it in high school.
That makes sense. I forgot. You've been changing floorboards out.
Yeah, the baseboard, the trim in the bathroom.
I called you yesterday. I was like, what's up? You're like, Changing the baseboards, buddy. Call me later.
That's right. That's right. Well, you had a big window in the morning where I could have given you some extrovert points, but
I was
you missed
driving
it.
my daughter to school. Yeah.
Well, no,
Drop it off.
you called me while you were driving her, and I missed it. And then I called you back maybe 8 minutes later, and you were like, I got to run her inside right now. I'll call you right back.
Yeah.
And then like a half hour passed. I was like, all right, I got to get after my day here. I'm done waiting around for this phone call where I know you have nothing actionable at all for me. Just, what's up? What are you doing? Hey, how are you? And then I waited another 15 minutes. You didn't reply to that. And I was like, all right, I'm getting after it.
Smart.
And then you called, and I didn't even see it because I was getting after it. And then you called again a couple hours later, and that's when I answered. And had a saw. I had a saw. I had some PVC baseboard. I had glue, cock, a cock gun. Yeah. Jordan's making an extra effort to pronounce the L in caulk, even though I'm pretty sure it's cock, because he doesn't want people to think he's talking about a penis.
I think it is caulk. I don't think it's cock.
You and I pronounce words differently. We've come to know here on the show. Here we go. CAULK. How to pronounce cock. We ready for this, David? If you could roll the audio of the Google pronunciation here, I'm gonna hit it, and you might have to splice this in, but
cock.
All right, so it's pronounced cock. That's how it's pronounced. K-A-A-K is the phonetical spelling of.
Really?
Yes.
Oh wow! I always thought it was caulk.
I know.
All right, I was wrong. It's cock. Mike's got his cock gun.
Yeah. So the baseboard looks, I mean,
premier,
serviceable. Yeah, it's
premier.
I'm over a week, no Instagram on my phone, very minimal Twitter usage. I feel like a fundamentally different person.
And you took your chess app off too, which is annoying.
I have an issue with my brain and a lot of things, and the chess app, like video games, are super dopaminergic, and I can't.
But chess is not super dopaminergic.
Yeah, chess isn't like cocaine, but chess is a video game, and depending on, look, n=1. I can only speak for myself. I will unconsciously go to chess like I do social media, and I will just play games over and over again when I should be doing something like responsibilities I have in my life.
Cocking.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, good. So no Twitter, no Instagram, no social media. You feel better.
My prefrontal cortex is slowly coming back online. I'm pretty pleased about it.
Good. That's amazing.
It is. How's your no scrolling going?
It's pretty good. It's not perfect, but it's way less doomsday when you're not scrolling all the time.
You're like a modern day Aristotle.
No, you are.
I'm not. Aristotle.
You're removing chess from your phone so you can.
It upsets me when Jordan says things that aren't true. Aristotle is known for the golden mean, which is like a moderation, essentially. Moderation isn't something that I can partake in, hence deleting all these things from my phone and being very all or nothing. How's scrolling going? You didn't say, I'm not scrolling at all, or you didn't say, I'm scrolling constantly. You said, I'm scrolling much less than I was, and I feel good about it. You're a modern day Aristotle.
Well, when you put it that way, I appreciate it.
I wonder if that's a skill or how much we as individuals have a proclivity toward, like,
genetically, just like
nature or nurture, but just how we got to the point where we're at. I guess it's obvious that some brains are more easily addicted to certain things than others.
Yeah. Do you think this is for life? Just never getting back on the scroll?
I think it's unlikely that I go the rest of my life if history rhymes or whatever that saying is, but I'm going to make a real effort to get my prefrontal cortex dialed back in and in charge of this operation.
So in addition to no scrolling, no social media, what else are you doing?
I'm trying to read a book.
Okay.
I'm rereading The Willpower Instinct.
Oh, nice. You love that book.
Yeah, I think I've read it twice. Once was almost 10 years ago, and then once was a year or two ago. We were talking about it. There's a lot of really good concepts as it relates to pleasure seeking and willpower. Mindfulness meditation is something that I'm going to try and add back in addition to not scrolling. So we'll see.
When would you do your mindfulness? Like when you wake up, randomly in the middle of the day?
Don't motivational interview me into.
I'm curious. I'm not trying. I don't care if you meditate or not. Doesn't bother me. I'm just curious.
Yeah, probably first thing in the morning.
It's funny you thought I was trying to motivation. I just wanted to know.
I know you were.
I wasn't. I just want to know when you're meditating. Like, it's like trying to figure out the schedule.
You're such a motivational interviewer that you don't even know when you're doing it.
No. Oh, trust me. I know when I'm doing it.
Have you done any of your 1-minute mindfulness meditations?
No, not in probably a year.
Okay. I'd take the under on that, but
I don't know when I was doing it. I feel like it was soon after my second daughter was born. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah. Might be pushing a year. Well, I'm glad your no scrolling is going well.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
It's great.
How are the Vikings?
Very injured. Very injured. 2-2.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm making an effort to become more of a casual fan consciously. I think that's another area of like pleasure pain seesaw. As funny as that is, people who are very into sports teams.
Yeah, it's another addiction, right? Another like almost like gambling, I bet.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely less dangerous and probably less dopaminergic, but yeah, I think so.
I see videos of dudes who are like watching their team lose or something and they like smash their TV.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, bro, that's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I thankfully have never been on that level, but yeah, it's definitely, you know what? I'm going to add that to the dopamine list, which is still coming our way.
But you're not going to stop watching the Vikings.
No, I'm just going to be casual.
Casual Vikings fan. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you ever take no caffeine days for like desensitization?
You know the answer to this.
No, I don't.
The only time I took time off of caffeine is because of my blood pressure. That was the only time. And Baruch Hashem, my blood pressure has been fucking great. So
it's awesome.
No, I've been, I don't know the last day that I haven't had caffeine.
Let's go.
I also don't really feel it. So that's not good.
Yeah, you also don't drink that much.
Yeah, I have a couple sips of coffee and then I'm like, all right.
Well, that one didn't go anywhere. I got a real thought here that is Hey, good talking point, Mike. Thanks. I have identified a problem in the fitness industry.
Oh, please. I can't wait to hear this one.
So I don't have a horse in this race. I'm just going to speak objectively about something I'm noticing.
You've got a horse. You're in the industry. You got a big horse in this race.
Nope, no horse. This doesn't affect me, but it's something I'm seeing. There seems to be an abundance of good coaches who want to work with more clients and help more people and are genuinely in it for the right reasons. They're not trying to make 6 figures in 6 days. They're not trying to be high ticket closers. They actually want to help people with their health and fitness, like an abundance of these coaches. And
they're all in the mentorship.
Yeah, I mean, tons in the mentorship who are in it for the right reasons, basically everyone, which makes sense given what we talk about here. On the flip side, there is, so the Pareto's principle, the 80-20 rule, 80% of results come to 20% of individuals. It applies to many different things. You can also think of the power law, which is, what is it, like 10% of any given population does 50% of, if you think of a corporate workplace, 10% of the employees are doing 50% of the work. That's the power law. Online, there is asymmetric upside in posting. So the majority of views are going to a small percentage of individuals, right? It's almost like a hockey stick graph. It's not linear in terms of how many views different people are getting. And for coaches in the fitness industry who run coaching businesses, there are many who have massive audiences to the point where they don't even coach themselves anymore or don't offer any kind of like service that they're actively involved in. Their sole job is content creator, like fitness content creator, get more eyeballs so I can sell coaching services. Many of these coaches now, like it used to be a 50-50 split with people who had assistant coaches, but over the last 5 to 7 years, I guess, the average split between the person who signed the client and the assistant coach has gone way in favor of the person who's creating content, to the point where some of these assistant coaches are making less than 10% of what that client is actually paying. Mm-hmm. Or am I explaining this clearly?
I mean, I'm understanding it.
You're following? Okay.
And if I'm understanding it, then I think anybody would. You bring percentages and math into it.
So what is happening is, and I don't think it's good or bad, like this is a free market, so it just is what it is.
No, I think it's objectively bad. It's like objectively unethical.
I don't think it's objectively unethical. I think it is too bad. I wish it was different, but it's hard. I don't see the argument for it being objectively unethical when it is a free market.
Well, I think it's two different conversations. It's like it's a free market, so you have the freedom to do it, but like I still don't think that it's right.
I'm going to try and finish. I'm going to try and land the plane here. No, you're good. You're good. So basically, the skill set that is more in demand isn't being a good coach to help people with their fitness goals. The skill set that is more in demand is being good at social media and reaching more people and selling to those people. And then obviously that ends up with a disproportionate reward, given that the free market leads to assistant coaches taking in less than 10% and the person who's making the content taking 90%, et cetera. I don't really know what this means. I just, in my gut, it's like, I wish it was easier for consumers of fitness content to find high quality coaches who want to help them, rather than them seeing more content from people with hundreds of thousands or millions of followers wanting to work with them or their team or whatever, and then ending up with a great assistant coach, but who is severely underpaid.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think from what I've heard, and I've spoken with coaches who are assistant coaches on teams like this, and they're getting paid like 10%. And I've even heard of these coaches who, like, the owner of the business doesn't let them know how much they're making, like relatively percentage wise. They aren't allowed to know how much the client is paying. And from what I've heard, or from what I've seen, a lot of these, like the person with the big audience, what they've done is they've often hired out a sales team. And so like it sounds like the person who is doing the content is making like 90% and the coach is making 10%, but it's actually more like the person making the content now has a sales team and they're making like 40%. And so that like it will be the sales team who gets on, tries to convert that lead into a paying client. And then the business owner will prioritize the sales team. So the business owner will give the sales team like 40% of whatever the sale is. Mm-hmm. And then I guess about 50% will then go to the person who's making the content. And then 10% will go to the coach, which in my opinion, I think it's objectively wrong. Or what I will say is, I don't think that someone who's being honest can say, I value the quality of my coaches more than I do money, but then do that. Like, that to me doesn't make sense, because the idea of the sales team getting 40%, you taking 50%, and then the coach who's actually doing the work, the coach who's actually spent their time and money to educate themselves, to continue to learn, continue education, to devote so much time and effort to the clients, paying them 10% to me, or 10, 15%, whatever, it just doesn't make sense. I agree, like, free market, like, great, you can do whatever. What I would say is, those coaches, I wish that they knew that if they went out on their own and started and improved the quality of their content and were unbelievably consistent with it, then they could make way more money, what they're actually worth per client, and not depend on some boss underpaying them significantly. That, like, if we're looking at the free market, that's what I wish, like, they were more aware of. Granted, there is also the side, like, great, now they don't have to worry about taking on clients, they don't have to worry, like, they get fed them. But even just the idea that they don't have to worry about it is a misnomer, because they only don't have to worry about it as long as the other person making the content is still doing a good job and getting new clients and able to feed them to them. So it's like false security. It's not real. But I think for me, I do struggle with that, because it's hard. I don't think you can legitimately say, yeah, I really value my coaches, and then underpay them so radically. It's like, because clearly you don't value them as much as you say you do.
Yeah. The, like, paying a salesperson 4x what the coach is getting does seem absurd. But my mind just goes to, like, wow, is that sales job 4x more difficult? Are there 4x, like, less people interested in that job? Like, is there a bigger gap between good salespeople and bad salespeople, between compared to good coaches and bad coaches? I don't know. But what you say, one of the points you made was, you wish those coaches knew that they could start making better content themselves, get their own clients, and get 100% of the revenue from those clients, which, I hope that all coaches in those positions know that they can do that. I think many of them do know they can do that, but don't want to make content.
Yeah.
Don't want to be online. Didn't get into this industry because they wanted to get, and now granted, you kind of have to, right, to build an online business. Or if you don't want to, because you can be an assistant coach working with a ton of clients, and if you're only getting 10% of the revenue, you're not making very much money, and you have a full client roster, like, you're working a full-time job just coaching. So it's like, you kind of gotta, like, eat your vegetables would be the analogy here, in terms of make content every single day. But I very much empathize with the coach who's like, I don't want to make content. I don't want to be spending time on my phone. I want to, and this is honestly, for people who are on the extreme end of that, I think in-person coaching is a great option, because you can make a really nice living coaching clients in person, and you don't have to make nearly as much content, if any.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, I wonder, like, if I started 10 or 12 years later, right? Like, if the timeline was different, I have no idea what I would do. I don't know if I would still grind and, like, all right, let's just make as much content as possible. I have no idea. I don't even think, I think about what life would have been like if I didn't move from Israel and didn't coach Gary, because that's the only reason I started posting so much, is because Gary was like, you need to post 3 times a day every day. Like, I don't think under any other circumstance I would have done what I did if it wasn't for Gary being like, post 3 times a day every day.
Yeah.
And I think I would have been looking at these other coaches with big audiences and being like, they suck, like, why do they have a huge audience? Yeah, it would have been like, that's stupid, like, horrible content. And doing my own thing, I had a very successful one-on-one coaching business at that point. But, like, in terms of, and I actually did have the inner circle as well, but to get to where I am now, I don't think I would have gotten there if I didn't have that specific opportunity of, hey, post way more often, way more frequently, and do it nonstop for years.
It's interesting. It's an interesting, I don't know, thing to think about. Just the how much the market values good content creation compared to how much it values good coaching. And I don't know if the churn rates are higher in these businesses where assistant coaches are underpaid and, overworked, whatever. Who knows?
Yeah,
I would imagine churn is higher because so much of one-on-one coaching is a personal relationship. When the person you're working with isn't the person who you've consumed their content, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. What I would just my heart is just talking to the coaches who are struggling and they're not sure what to do. It's like, listen, if you need to take a lower percentage for the time being, do it. That's totally fine. But also in the meantime, use your free time, whatever you can wrangle up, whatever you can scrape together, and make content, because it can, even if you don't want to do it, and this, it's the eating your vegetables. If you don't want to do it, it can give you so much freedom and eventually to you getting paid what you're worth on your own scale when you decide how you decide, rather than depending on someone else. So it's or maybe try and seek out a business owner who will pay you what you're worth, which might be difficult. That's also challenging, because then maybe you don't want to make content, but you also don't want to be reaching out and applying to new jobs and trying to find someone and starting all over again. And there's a whole host of issues. But the one thing that you absolutely can control is, I mean, you got a phone, you got social media, you can make content. Like, you can. It's the lowest barrier to entry, and it's 100% controlled by you.
And it doesn't have to be forever.
Yeah.
Like if you think about a 5-year window of absolutely grinding your face off, that can set a foundation to make your business run much more smoothly and efficiently in the future. Can also lead to you like potentially still making content beyond a 5-year window, but just less and on platforms that you enjoy more.
Yeah. Reposting old content or repurposing old content.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's the same thing with fitness, where it's like a lot of people I don't want to work out. I don't like working out. But then they do it for 2 years. They see the progress and all of a sudden they like it. And maybe after doing content for a while, you begin to enjoy it. The other aspect is the opportunities that come from it. And I don't just mean income. I just mean you could then have a platform to speak about other things that you really care about, to lead into other jobs that you never would have thought of. That it's the things that come from getting yourself out there and building your own personal brand is what it is, which is what Gary spoke about all the time. When you can build your own personal brand and you can create an audience of people who will listen to you, your options are essentially infinite. And your options are infinite from the beginning. But once you've laid that foundation and built an audience of people who trust you because you're trustworthy and who listen to you, like you can do anything you want with it, which is just such a blessing. And you don't feel like you're in this box. You don't feel like you're trapped and I can only do this one thing. It'd be like if you could only train with dumbbells, or if you could go in a gym and train with literally every piece of equipment that you want. Like once you're in the gym with all that equipment, you can use any equipment that you want. Once you have the audience, you can talk about anything that you want and make a real impact.
Yeah, that's an upside for sure. And being able to choose the platform you make content on and make it where you enjoy it most is also something that I think is under discussed. Like, you don't have to be posting on Instagram for 20 straight years if you absolutely hate Instagram.
Yeah. I just wonder what's going to happen. I mean, we've seen since like AI really became more popularized, we've seen Google just drop. Just like so way fewer people are using Google. And I know they're doing a pretty good job of introducing their AI models. So now like they have AI responses immediately, but it'll be very interesting to see how something like Instagram, Facebook, etc. changes over the next 3, 5, 12 years as new things come out, because people do migrate, they do shift, they change, and it would need to be a real powerhouse. But I think it's doable, and I think it'd be ignorant to just assume Instagram, TikTok, YouTube will be the things forever. Like something else will come.
Yeah. Follow that attention. The Google thing's interesting because I'm seeing more and more that it's really just like chatbots that have replaced Google on the SEO front. So much of like we're getting a pretty steady flow of applications for the mentorship from people who found us who haven't listened to a single podcast episode, but it's either Grok or ChatGPT or Perplexity said that we could help them with their personal training business.
I don't mean the SEO side of it. I mean, Google has been the number one search engine since the internet. And now people are using Google less. Now it's like now they're using AI chatbots. Now they're using these things. It's like at 5 years ago, 3 years ago, if you said, people won't use Google as much, you'd be like, what in the hell is going to replace Google? It's the same thing I think will happen with social media at some point. There will be something new that happens. Tech will change. I'm interested to see what's going to happen with something like with holograms. And it's not just going to be on the screen anymore, but you'll actually have like almost like in Star Wars, where it's like you have holograms in front of you. Like, I don't know. I have no idea, but I think we will see a shift eventually, whenever that is. And Instagram does a good job of it, is they're always changing. They're adding more. Like they're constantly trying to stay very relevant within their user base. So who knows? Maybe they will own everything. And I mean, they've already owned.
Keep buying stuff.
Yeah, keep buying everything that comes up.
Instagram, WhatsApp.
I mean, I remember when I'll never forget this. I remember when Instagram offered to buy Snapchat for, I think it was hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars.
3 billion.
And Snapchat was like, no, fuck you. And then Instagram was like, okay. And they just made stories. And then overnight, Snapchat was gone.
Yeah, definitely became less popular.
Yeah, immediately.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's just an argument for anyone making content consistently, trying to grow their business, of diversifying platforms. Like if you have a huge TikTok or if you have a huge Instagram, but you're not focused on your email list, you're not making any long form content, like those are things you should be doing to hedge against the risk that Jordan describes, which is these short form platforms might not be what they are forever or as popular as they are forever. So building that email list, making long form content. We don't need to get into the AI stuff, but I'm more and more like, maybe it'll be a divide between the techno optimists and the pessimists, meaning people who lean in fully and have holograms around them 24/7 and have the contacts in and have just like dopamine spiking 24/7, 365. And they're looking around and they're like seeing people who aren't there. And I don't know. Gary talks about this a lot, which is contacts that just you can be interacting with constantly versus the growing trend of social media is obviously horrible for mental health. I want to be on it less. Businesses and people who are creating, it makes a ton of sense that you're going to lean into whatever the newest technology is, wherever the attention is. But for the individual consumer who's just like scrolling away their gray matter, like if you're doing that for 5 hours a day, do you really need to be doing that for 18 hours a day with contacts? I don't know. I would be shocked if there's not a huge, and maybe this is already happening, but a huge, like kids always do the opposite of what their parents were into. Just like a real reversion to tradition and
I mean, I think what a lot of kids are going to do is they're going to see their parents not paying attention to them and just scrolling on their phone all the time, and the kids are going to feel really disappointed and left out and not valued. And so when they become parents and as they get older, like they're gonna be like, I'm not doing that. I'm like, I know how horrible it felt to feel like I wasn't being paid attention to feel like I wasn't being listened to. I was never being looked at in the eyes when I was being spoken to. So I would imagine that will be a huge thing, is that kids will make a concerted effort to not have their face in their phone all the time because they know how bad it feels when you're just not being paid attention to and you're all sitting around a table and everyone's on their screen.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's a really good point. I hadn't even thought of that. On the other side, I wonder if the technologies just get so good that at a population level, like we become like rats hooked on cocaine who just can't even fight it becomes too all-encompassing, too enjoyable, too pleasurable, too easy, too addictive that we can't fight it, essentially.
Yeah, it's real. I mean, I think it's why the environment you're brought up in matters so much. Like, I don't know. I have no idea. If the environment you're in is just one where everyone is always on their phone and that's all you see, versus if the environment you're in where it's like, hey, everyone puts their phone here in this box, like we're not on at dinner, this is what we value, I think that will help.
That makes sense. I agree with that. But we didn't grow up with this technology and we're like in it constantly.
Well, yeah, that's the interesting aspect of it is like we're the only generation to have experienced both. Like we knew life before social media, and we're also like we were young enough when it was first introduced, or like we like sort of got it as we were growing up. Mm-hmm. So it's like we knew what it was like before, mm-hmm. but we also have really experienced. I shouldn't say we're the only generation, but like we're like the youngest generation to have experienced both, mm-hmm. and so it's yeah, it'll be interesting to see as the kids who are born, like when our kids are born, see how they handle it. And also, because I mean, it's a huge part of school. The tech is such a huge part of schooling, and it's essential. Like the way that my 3-year-old knows how to manipulate an iPad is insane.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Like she understands it completely. It's really wild.
Because of school?
No, just because like we let her have some quiet time with the iPad, or sometimes if we're driving, we'll let her use it. And the speed and rate at which she learns how to do it is crazy.
Yeah, that makes sense. Malleable brain.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
What, like when you say that it's so immersed in school, I didn't know that.
Well, I mean, obviously, my kids are very young, and it's easier to say this than do it.
I'm thinking like,
but like, yeah. We have spoken many times, my wife and I, about how like they will not be allowed to have social media probably until at the earliest 16. But I know there are many parents who let their kids just free access to the internet. And we hear horror stories all the time, at least I do, of like 12-year-old girl like was chatting with this 35-year-old guy on this thing and the parents didn't know about it. And then like he takes her to Ohio and like just all this crazy shit. And there are like, if all of your friends are doing it, or if you have a number of friends who have free access to it and you go over to your friend's house or you're just at school and like, hey, let's look at this, then the kids are going to try and figure out a way to do it. It's part of culture. It's part of what yeah.
I misunderstood.
It's not like the classroom.
I thought you meant curriculum. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, for sure. Other kids in school. Yeah. That's why I kind of want to move to the middle of nowhere. Form an anti-tech farm community. Yeah.
Go to the Amish in Pennsylvania.
Maybe I will.
I think they've got it right.
I know they've got it right. All that time outside.
They make good woodworking stuff. They make the best tables and chairs. Susan's got an Amish made table.
Oh,
in
yeah?
her kitchen. Yeah.
Cool.
Good quality.
Could have helped me with my baseboard yesterday.
Yeah, probably. Could have built your whole house.
Let's do a couple rapid fire questions from the Syatt Fitness Q&A.
I'm an athlete/coach. How do you split your content that you share? And I'm imagining that this is Martin Chudnacki. I think he's asking, all right, how do you split your content between the content of you as an athlete versus the content of you as a coach? Like, how do you make that split? And it's not like a 50-50 split. I think you can post both, but realistically, if you're using your social media as a way to grow your business, your there are a couple ways you could take it. If you're an athlete and you just want to work with very high level people, actually, no, I'm going to go back on that. I was going to say if you just want to work with high level people, then it would make sense to also like maybe post more of your athletic stuff. But I'm going to go back on that. If your social media is for the purpose of building your business, the majority of it should be educational. And you can incorporate your own athletic stuff into these educational posts. This is how I ran a 5-minute 30 mile, right? Like it's great. I ran a 5:30 mile. Here's how I did it. Here's my training program. Here's what I recommend. Here are common mistakes. You can incorporate them both into the same post. But education has to be the backbone of your content, no matter what. And one of the major issues I see, especially with athletes, and we could talk about bodybuilders and physique competitors who just show off their body all the time and just say, look how lean I am. And they just are going for ego likes and just like, hey, like, tell me how great I look. You could look at people who are freak athletes who run ridiculously fast or lift a lot of weight, and they just continuously just show how incredible they are. You could do people who are just objectively super attractive men and women who just post themselves essentially naked all the time on social media and essentially just looking for engagement farming, just trying to get as much engagement as possible to stroke their ego. If your social media is more for your ego, then just post your own accomplishments. That's it. But that's not going to translate nearly as well to business as education. And I specifically say nearly as well because it can translate to business, and it does. I mean, one of the ways I used to get clients when I coach people in person is I would go to another gym and I would deadlift really, really heavy. And people would be like, oh shit, how are you doing that? And then I would get some clients from it. But you also don't want your brand solely built on how you look and how you perform, because it will hurt your brand long run. And you want people coming to you for your brains, not your body. This is for everyone. You want people to want to work with you for your brains, not your body. And I will say I think this is actually more, I've worked with many women, both in the mentorship and with just in general, who have fallen into the trap of, well, I get way more engagement if I post a more provocative picture of myself. But the issue is they're getting these thirsty dudes who are liking these pictures and engaging with them, but they're not becoming your coaching clients, which is like one of the reasons why the women who I found are the most successful in the social media space are the ones, and I'm not telling you what to wear or what to post. I'm just telling you, in my experience, what I've seen is most successful. It's the women who don't show off their body and they show off their brains. They show off their education, because that's what's going to lead to people who actually want to work with you. Whereas if you just want to stroke your ego and get more likes and views, yeah, like show your body, because you're going to get a lot of like thirsty dudes who are lying in bed and just like scrolling through and looking at, like, it's gross. Like if you just want to have a lot of likes so you can go out and have your friends or your family like, wow, you have so many followers, so many likes, your comment section is going to be gross and your DMs are going to be gross, and it's not going to translate to actual income. If you want to build a business that is making legitimate money and helping people achieve their goals, build it off your brains, not your body.
Clips Nation. I love it. Completely agree. The only thing I'll add is a very slight caveat / emphasis on the fact that if you demonstrate in your own fitness the type of progress that your clients want to make, that's going to accelerate your business. Yeah. Like you're like case study number 1 for your own philosophies is going to, on top, like education is clearly most important, but if you're also practicing what you preach, that's going to lead to a higher conversion of signups.
Massive. It's a force multiplier.
Yeah.
When you stand out as the person who's like, hey, I'm not just intelligent, I'm also working hard and practicing what I preach. And like, there's an old saying, I feel like this saying has gotten some kickback, but I actually think there's some merit to it, which is like your body is your business card, right? It's like, if generally speaking, if you're talking about the general population, I'm not saying whether this is right or wrong, but like just objectively, what happens in real, we'll take it out of fitness. If you have two people who are financial advisors and they're both incredibly intelligent, well-spoken, and you're following both of them, and one of them says like, yeah, I'm in debt, and the other one says, it shows their bank account. Like, they both show their bank account. One's in debt and one of them has way more money. You're like, I'm going to work with the fucking person who has way more money, because obviously they know what they're doing. Even though they might say the exact same things, you're still going to go probably more with the person who has more money. It's the same thing.
It's reality.
It's the reality of it. Whether or not you agree with it is irrelevant. It's just the truth.
Yeah.
And if you can, like, I mean, even looking at my mobility stuff for the last almost 2 years, I don't know, a fraction of the people who joined the inner circle prior to this were joining for mobility. Like, no one was joining for mobility. But because I've been able to show how much I've improved my mobility, people have been like, oh shit, like, I know you weren't born with this ability. I know you weren't like, you haven't been doing this forever. They saw my progress. They're like, hey, I want that. Like, I want to be able to do that because I showed them that I did it. It's the same thing.
And that's what I mean by demonstrating your progress. It can be strength. It can be performance. It can be physique. But if it's physique, like, let's say you lost a whole bunch of weight and kept it off and looked great. What Jordan said about posting like thirst traps still stands. Meaning you can show off your progress in a tasteful way rather than male or female posting provocative pictures for engagement. Rapid fire.
Isn't it interesting? Someone said your podcast isn't linked in your bio, which brings up an interesting discussion of what should be in your bio. And I deliberately haven't linked it in my bio because in my bio, number one, I'm posting about my podcast constantly on my feed and in my stories. Like, I'm constantly posting clips from it and giving people the links to it. For me, the link in my bio it's a very important link. And if you have tons and tons of links, like here's my like Amazon affiliate link, and here's this link, and here's that link, and here's my online coaching, and here's the link to my ebook, and here's that. If you have a ton of links, it's overwhelming, and people, they don't know what to click. And what you really should do is you should prioritize one, maybe two links. That's it. Just one, maybe two. If you have a ton of links, I think you're hurting your business. One or two at most, and they're the top priority. And not to mention, I don't think many people are going to go from my Instagram bio to my podcast link and then go listen to a bunch of my podcasts. Like, if someone's on Instagram, they're not going to go like, all right, I'll go listen to a 3-hour podcast right now, or even an hour podcast. Usually, if they're ready to listen to a podcast, they'll either see a clip of it and then be like, hey, I want to go listen to that. And then they can reply, or they can go search it out. But that's also why I have the automation set up where if they, like I say, comment podcast, I'll send you the link to it. But very few, if any, people are going to go, hey, let me go look at the link in his bio. Oh, I'm going to go listen to his podcast. So make it a deliberate choice of which links you should have. Maybe it's one of them is an email list, like a free, like something to get on your email list, and another thing to apply for coaching. Those are probably like the most important links you can have in your bio.
I like it. Some great tactical advice on the social medias. We got a mentorship Q&A shortly that we're going to hop on first. This week's Bible verse of the week, Hebrews 10:26. You ready?
I love this. Let's do it.
If we have deliberately kept on sinning after we have received the knowledge of the truth, no sacrifice for sins is left. I see and have experienced myself this feeling or belief maybe that it's okay if I do bad. And it's almost like a childish mindset. It's okay if I do bad things because I can just ask God for forgiveness. I heard this verse. Cam Newton has a podcast. You know who Cam Newton is? Football player?
Yeah. He's on the Bengals?
He is retired. He played for the
okay.
Panthers for a long time.
He's super famous.
Yeah. Yes. And I heard it in a clip on YouTube from a podcast he was doing with this other guy. I actually don't even know who the guy was who said it. But basically, I had never heard this verse before, which is saying that if you consciously and knowingly continue to do wrong when you know it's wrong, then maybe that like forgiveness that you always assume is there from God isn't there. It you know, we talk about fear a lot in different contexts. I think fear of God is actually a proper fear that like orients our lives in a positive direction. And this one sent a chill of fear up my spine.
Did it really?
Like, yeah, it hit.
Like when you're saying the forgiveness isn't there, are you saying that like your idea of forgiveness is that like you're just not absolved? Like it's just you might think that you're being forgiven for all of your sins, for all the things you're doing, but like if you just keep doing this, like at a certain point, the forgiveness wears out.
Yeah, and that point is more. I don't think it's definitive. I don't know. Like, I'm not the expert to analyze this verse.
No, but that's what's fun is like we can talk about it and
yeah. But it's the knowing something is wrong. Like there's a difference between making a mistake and asking for forgiveness versus consciously, repeatedly making the same decision. It's not a mistake at a certain point. You keep doing it over.
It's a choice.
I'm sorry, God, do it again. I'm sorry, God. And then eventually it's like, okay, you know this is wrong. You're about to lose your cool, whatever the sin is, and you continue to do it anyway. It's like
I was listening to a rabbi talk about this last night because Yom Kippur is coming up, which is traditionally the day of repentance where you repent for your sins. And he had a really interesting take, and I don't remember it verbatim, but he's like, there's different types of asking for forgiveness, where it's like there's one type where you're asking for forgiveness because you've done something wrong, but you know the person's going to be really mad at you, and you know that it's likely going to mean that you're no longer friends with them anymore, right? Like you're just completely like they'll remove you from their life completely. There's another type of asking for forgiveness where it's like, hey, I made this mistake. Can we still be friends? It's like, yeah, we can still be friends, but I'm not going to trust you. The relationship is now completely different. So one is like, I'm not involved in your life anymore. Another is we're still involved, but like it's just the trust has been broken so severely that like it's hard to rebuild any meaningful relationship. But then there's another type of forgiveness where, and I'm probably butchering all this, but the last one that he said is, hey, I made this mistake. And now that I'm bringing it up to you, and because you're also so understanding, like our relationship is now stronger as a result of it, right? It's like you might actually become closer because of this mistake and because you were honest about it, and almost thinking of it as like, okay, if you were to have a friend and you kept making that same choice over and over and over and over again, there's only so long before, hey, the first time I get it, second time not happy about it, third time, like how many times can you keep making this before it's like you're actively making a choice to destroy what we have? And he was talking about that in relation to Yom Kippur, and I think it's actually a similar discussion in which it's like if you keep making this over and over and over and over again, I mean, who you're really hurting is yourself, number one. Like you're really, because you know you shouldn't be doing it, and simply asking for forgiveness, even though you know you shouldn't be doing it, the person who it's hurting the most is you. Never mind whoever else is involved in whatever else is going on. But I don't even know where I'm going with this, other than I thought it was interesting, the different types of asking for forgiveness and the different types of mistakes and the different, just the repetitive nature of these mistakes over and over and over again. It's like, at what point does asking for forgiveness not make sense anymore? Because like it's ridiculous. You know, and I think, I mean, I struggle with, I think everyone struggles with this in some capacity, but also understanding that just because you're asking for forgiveness doesn't mean that you're forgiven.
Yeah. Yep. That's also true. There needs to be almost like behavior change on the back end rather than just words coming out of your mouth. Otherwise, those words are empty.
Yeah.
And in your example, which makes total sense, it's like, okay, it almost highlights, like thinking of it in terms of a friendship, highlights it makes it more real almost. And then when you think about asking God for forgiveness, and God, who has seemingly infinite grace, compared to a mere mortal who, might forgive you 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 times even, but eventually it's like, all right, man, what's going on? Why are we even friends anymore? My, not understanding, but like just kind of like vague general understanding, I guess, was that God's grace runs so deep that you just keep asking for forgiveness. But this verse was the first thing I ever saw that was like, hey, if you're knowingly and willingly and deliberately continuing to do bad thing over and over and over again, that grace doesn't go forever.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a limit to my grace.
Yeah.
Don't push it.
Yeah. Don't push it. Don't push it. We got mentorship Q&A. Thank you very much for listening. 5-star review, Spotify, Apple, wherever you're listening. Jordan and I would greatly appreciate it. Hit that thumbs up button on YouTube and have a wonderful rest of your week.
See you.